Hello, everybody, and welcome to Write Something Weird. I'm Sophie Stern, and I'm here with my wonderful guest, Brandy. Hi, Brandy.
Hello.
Brandy, can you tell us a little bit about what you write?
So I write paranormal rom-com, and contemporary rom-com, and I'm getting into monster rom-com. So that's what I write.
I love that. And so, Brandy and I have known each other for a while,
Yeah,
and it's a while. And it's so fun to see all the different things that you're writing and how
yes,
you're exploring new things. I think that's really fun to watch.
yeah. Um, I think I met you, was it around 2019?
I think so. I think it's been that long.
Yeah, it was definitely before COVID because I remember my first book events as a reader started in 2018, and I don't
Okay,
think I
cool.
went to Writers on the River in 2018.
Okay, my first year at Writers was 2021. So
Okay.
it might
Okay.
have been there.
Yeah, 2021. Yeah, that probably sounds about right.
Cool.
I
I
don't
love
know.
it. Sounds like we're in the midst of a beautiful friendship and we should keep it
Yes,
going.
of course. Yes, I've always when I first met you, I've always loved your books. I've
Oh,
still read them. I have a stack of books for you to sign when I see you at Writers. So um yeah.
thank
So
you. You're so supportive. I'm just so lucky to know you and I'm so happy
yeah.
that we met and we get to encourage each other and talk about writing. It's really wonderful.
Yes. I aspire to be like you,
Oh
for
my
sure.
gosh. Okay, you're not allowed to make me cry on my own show and we
Well,
both
I
know I
mean,
cry real fast.
you're probably one of the first ones other than maybe Hope Ford and Elise Kelly that does like the shorter stories.
Hmm.
Um and I was like, I think I can write a short story. And so like you three have been like so influential in my writing, like the short stuff, getting that Fated Mates, you
Yeah.
know, because I was like, well, Fated Mates, that's like insta love and like it's just so compact. Whereas I
Yeah.
don't think right now that I could write a long book. So I think for now I'm going to stay in this little niche that I'm trying to carve out.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like fated mates are so fun to write, especially if you want to write something a little shorter, because you
Hmm.
just kind of get right to it. You don't have the
Yeah.
slow burn, but it's still very passionate and exciting and fun.
Yes.
And it's I feel like as a writer and a reader, I just love being in the midst of a story and having one person be like, we are destined to be together. Like I love that.
The instant connection between them
Mhm.
is just always like electrical or on fire or, magical. And in my books, I like to write meet cutes. So it's
Yeah.
usually like that first spark between them. And how they meet is just usually like something random or something like super cute and sweet, or like, in one of my books, a guy knocks a vase off of a shelf and it's at a flower shop. And I always call him my bull in a china shop type of situation. And she comes and she just whisks all the mess away with her magic. And he's just like looking up at her in awe because he was like bending down to pick it up. And then she's just there. And it's just like that instant connection that they have.
I love that. And it sounds like they really complement each other, which I love, especially
Yeah.
when we have a story where the guy is really rough and tumble and no one's ever taken care of him before or been gentle with him before.
Hmm.
And we
Yeah.
get to see that in our main female character. It's really fun.
Yes. Yes. I feel like that is
Yeah.
always the case.
So you said you call him your bull in the china shop. And
Yes.
one of the things we're talking about tonight are names and how we name our stories. So what does that
Mhm.
look like for you?
I'm definitely very punny, um, especially doing rom-com. I like just joking and like having that fun, lighthearted piece. So I always try to play on words or um, just come up with something that's very, very catchy.
Yeah.
And but in a fun, lighthearted way and not like in a dark, mysterious way, because I want you to know upfront what's going to be happening so that you
Yeah.
can get a feel for it. Um, so that's just how I write my and pick out my names and things like that for books.
I like that. And I think readers know a lot from the title, and they can really kind of decide if a book is for them or not just from
Yeah.
what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in my older books, I used a lot of like tropes in the names.
Mm-hmm.
Also, as somebody who writes a lot of shapeshifter romance, I love saying what kind of shifter it is in the title because
Yes.
people don't have to think too hard about it. So I know like people have teased me before about my titles, but like one of my best, my books that has sold the best is Alien Beast. And it's kind of like, you know exactly what you're getting
Yeah.
into just from the title. It's not super creative, but it lets you know there's an alien. He's a beast. What does that mean? Is it open to interpretation? Maybe. But I feel like there's that level of intrigue there.
Yeah. I think getting that it's not just like judging a book by its cover, but
Mhm.
judging it by its name and not judging in a bad sense, but like getting to know like what you like as a reader and
Yeah.
then figuring out if that's going to be for you just based on that. Especially
Yeah.
if like the book cover isn't is too vague, maybe it's like an object cover or something
Yeah.
like that and it's kind of mysterious in that sense, maybe the title can give you more of what it could be about.
Absolutely. I agree. Yeah. And I think titles are super important. H.M. Ward had a writing course years ago, and she said that the four most important things about like drawing people into your book are the description, the title, the cover, and the first page of your story.
Hmm. Yeah. I always try to make my first page, if not chapter, that meet cute. So
Yeah.
it pulls you in, or something funny happens, just something that's gonna just like pull you in, and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
I want to know more.
Yeah. I love the idea of having the meet cute happen that quickly. And when I first started writing romance, I would take my time getting to the meet cute. Like I had one story where the couple didn't meet till like halfway through the book, which is like way too slow.
Wow.
But it was a little too slow. But and somebody told me they were like, "Hey, actually, maybe you should have the couple meet faster, like by
Mhm.
chapter 3." But
Yeah.
now I'm more like you. Like, I think like as soon as possible, as soon as I can
Yeah.
get them to meet, then their
Hmm.
adventure starts, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard to I think when writing, especially if you're doing short stories or the fated mates, on how to get them to come together for that
Mm,
initial connection. And then after that, to get them on their first date or first
yeah,
whatever they have. And then, if there is a spicy scene, how to get them to that point.
yeah,
Um, so I think with shorter stories, you have to have them meet as quickly as
yeah,
possible and just like
hmm
start in on it. Have a little bit
yeah,
of something maybe if it's important enough, but
hmm
just get to the point here.
yeah, exactly. And we don't have to make our readers wait. Like they're
Yeah.
here for the meat of the story, so it's okay to serve that up a little
Hmm.
faster, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So, when it comes to coming up with names for your characters, what
Yeah.
does that look like for you? Is that easy? Do you have like a process that you go through?
So I feel like when I usually my process is starting with a scene of some
Okay.
kind, probably don't know any names, and then I write that down. And then once I have that scene down, then I go back and I try to like figure out what story it is.
Mm.
And then because I have a science background, I love Latin
Okay,
because in
cool.
science you use a lot of Latin um, words to like put together to mean other things.
Yeah.
Um, so I sometimes will like look up words and then see what the Latin word for that is, and then somehow create a name.
Yeah.
Um, but I use a lot of like those baby name websites that tell you what
Yeah.
they mean. And if it's
Yeah.
Latin, like I'm there for it. But sometimes it'll go like Greek or um something of that era, but
Mhm.
for some reason Latin just sticks with me. Or if it's like a punny name, then like according to their job title, maybe then I'll just throw in a pun. I do have, yeah, his book is not written. He's actually the first book I started, and he's still not done. Um,
Okay.
because I went on to other projects first. His story will come out eventually, but he's a park ranger, and his name is Parker. Parker the park ranger.
Okay. Okay. And
So,
see, I feel like as a romance girly and as somebody who loves paranormal, I
mhm,
think that puns are just so joyful and so fun to read. And
yeah,
I think, I write contemporary too, but I feel like with paranormal in particular, readers love a good pun and
yeah,
they want to be like, they want jokes and they want a little bit of joy as they're reading, even if it's spicy and it can be really
yeah,
dirty and raunchy. They also want like Parker the Park Ranger. Like, that's funny.
yeah, yeah. And yeah, I feel like I do that with a lot of names. My current work in progress, I have just a picture of the book cover, but he is a Yeti and she's a human, and Yetis are from the Himalayan mountains. And so her name is Leia, which is like Himalaya. So
Yeah.
so it's kind of a little mix in there. And then his name, I can't honestly remember where I got his like full name. So it's like it's not Alastair, but it's Alamistier.
Oh,
And
okay.
it probably has a meaning that I found and then just never wrote down. But in the book, he goes by Al, and so she calls him Big Al, which I think is kind of funny because it brings me back to like Tim the Toolman Taylor era,
Yeah.
and there was Al
Yeah.
in there, and so he kind of takes on that vibe. But um, so yeah, I just like to give them funny names sometimes, but sometimes serious names. It just depends.
Yeah, and I feel like the cool thing about writing a lot and writing different stories is that you kind of get to like try out lots of different names and figure out what you like and what your style is and if you have a favorite name because I definitely have like some favorite names. And you've
Hmm.
read a lot of my stories, so like
Yes.
I have a lot of Emily's. I love the name Emily. I have a lot of Heathers. Love a good Heather. Um,
Yes.
and I feel like that's also like one of the nice things about being a writer is you can use the same name in different books if you want to.
Right. I think I think it's fun to come up with the names that are very unique, but then also using very common, ordinary
Yeah.
names because a lot of readers are like, well, I would like to be, that character, or I want to see
Hmm.
myself as that character. And honestly, I have never read a character named Brandy with a Y
Okay.
that is not like she's never the main character. And
Oh,
I'm just like,
interesting.
one of these days
Yeah.
she's good. I'll find a book. Will I write my own? Probably, but why not? Um,
Just start dropping that at Riders on the River
I
this
know,
summer, and then next
Brandy.
year, every main character is going to be Brandy with a Y.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think naming is one of my research things, is one of the things I definitely research. I've been getting into like the cryptids and monsters and
Mm.
different shifters lately. So those I definitely research, the lore and
Yeah.
the legends of those to give me something. I do have an Easter Bunny book. So there's some bunny shifters and there is a jackalope shifter. And if you read up on jackalopes, it's a cryptid, but it's not really because then it came out that it was just these boys who glued antlers onto a bunny, like
Yeah.
a um and so I was like, well, in my world, jackalopes are real and they're shifters and they're cryptid. And I was like, but what could his name be? And so in the lore, it was the Herrick brothers. So I named him Herrick to give
Okay.
him a little bit of like realness to
Mm-hmm.
him and the fact that, an attachment. If you go look up, maybe you might interested in learning about jackalopes.
Yeah.
And then you go find that and you're like, oh, that's where she got that name.
Yeah.
So I try to put a little bit of something from real life into my stories
Yeah.
as well. So I think that's also helpful for naming.
For sure. And I like how you mentioned like your science background because I feel like people who don't necessarily read like monster romance or paranormal might not realize that when we're writing these, we do a lot of research.
Yes.
And I remember like one of my first books about bears, like bear shifters, I went down like this rabbit hole on like different types of bears and which bears are small and which ones are big. And I had one story where I wrote a character who was a cinnamon bear. So she was very small. And then she was like insecure about her size. And so that played a role in the dynamics of the story. So not only can we play with like the character traits of like the shapeshifter, we can
Yeah.
also then also play with the names and just have a really good time with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I have my books, so I do want to like, if it's okay, I want to show you like the titles. And then
Yeah.
some of them have like pictures with them that show you kind of like the essence. So like this is called Kiss My Tulips. So it's like a play on something raunchy but also fun.
Yeah.
Um and so she's a flower shop owner. So that's him like knocking the vase off. And so
I
I
like
think
that
that
one.
that's fun. And then so she has a sister and she owns a donut shop and the donut shop is called Glaze Me Up because also punny and raunchy
Yeah.
but cute. So
Yeah.
and then there's two more in that series I haven't wrote yet, but um the next one is called Break My Spine
Okay.
and it's she's a bookshop owner. And
Yeah.
then so those three are sisters. And then there's a new girl that comes to town and she owns like an antique store and it's called um, Shiver Me Timbers because there's
Okay.
like a pirate key involved. So there's a
Okay.
little bit of pirate going on as
I
well
love a
that
good
I thought was
pirate.
funny. Yes. And then my contemporary series that I only have so in each of my books, there's two stories. So like
Okay.
there's two short stories for printing anyway. So this one's called my Hard Candy series because they're all based off of candy themes.
Okay.
So the first one is called Sucking a Sugar Daddy. So that's very
As
fun.
you do.
Um and then the next one is called Devouring a Big Hunk because there's a candy bar called a Big Hunk.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's an older candy. It's not very popular anymore, but when I do sell these, I do usually have the candies to go with it so that you can enjoy
Oh,
them more.
that's a really fun touch.
And so I have ideas anyway for probably 12 in the series of all these
Okay.
different candies. So there's Munching on a Kit Kat. So her name is
Okay.
Katarina, but she goes by Kit Kat.
Of course.
Um, Craving Clark because there's the Clark bar.
Yeah.
Savoring Mike and Ike,
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and that one is gonna be MMF.
Okay.
Yeah. I really like that story is the next one in that series to come. But and
That'll
then
be fun to
there's,
write.
yeah, three brothers, and one is for the Heath bar, an O. Henry bar, and a Mr. Good bar. And so I had to give him an H name. So his name is Harrison. But there's those three candy bars. And then I have um what is it? I'm gonna do something about nerds, nibbling on some nerds, gobbling some goobers,
Okay.
and, and something with Smarties. I can't think of the title, but there's
Yeah.
Smarties in there. And then for Skittles, I'm gonna call it Taste the Rainbow.
Okay.
And
Okay. Yeah.
that'll be one of the final books because I am gonna have seven guys and one girl.
Brandy.
I
That's gonna
know,
be fun. That one,
I know.
I
I
need
was
a
like,
copy of that one.
yeah. So eventually down the line, but those are down the line for me. But I loved naming them. It took
Yeah.
me a while because since I started with like things that you can do to candy, but
Hmm.
also sexual, uh
Yeah.
so it was kind of like I had to like really research some words in the dictionary um for those. But then I also have, so this one isn't as fun. I might change the title one day just to match
Okay.
better. Um, but it was gonna be fun, but you can't use Grinch at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You can a little bit, but Amazon likes to hide because
Yeah. Always got to be
of
careful with
copyright.
that.
Yeah, so I
Hmm.
just scrapped that. But this one's
Fair.
Handyman for Christmas. Um, so it's not like super fun or anything, but
I like the cover though.
yeah, it's like a Grinch meets small town Martha May.
Yeah. Okay.
And so it's really cute. I used to have an old cover. So this is the old cover before I went to these types of covers. And then so you could see a little bit.
I can see it. Yeah.
So, and
That's
he has
really
a,
interesting too.
yeah,
And
he has
thinking
a
of
raccoon.
titles,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, it's interesting to see how the title like plays into the cover design too,
yeah.
right?
And then so with that series, they're all holiday related
Hmm.
because I love holidays and
Yeah.
I like
Who doesn't love a
decorating
good
for
holiday?
holidays. So my Easter bunny ones, there's Some Bunny to Love,
Yeah. I like the
and
bunny at the
then
top.
My Easter bunny. So it's two
Solid.
sisters, and one um has to become the Easter bunny because the Easter bunny's a girl, by the way.
Okay.
Um, for
I'm
those
here
who
for
didn't
that.
know, I looked it up. Um, but she doesn't want to be the Easter bunny. She wants to go travel the world. She wants to wander around and figure out life. And so, twin sisters, as they do, they swapped
Yeah.
places. And so, her sister became the Easter bunny. She went and found her jackalope, and her sister fell in love with the bodyguard that helps them
Okay.
out on Easter night. So,
Oh, okay.
it's kind
That's
of like a
fun.
little Santa-ish in the
Yeah.
sense that they go out before Easter, drop the baskets, and then on their way. But he protects her, and there's an age gap.
Okay.
It's pretty hot.
I like
I
it
enjoyed it.
sounds, yeah, you had me at age gap. That always
Yes.
makes the story like the heat level just goes up,
Yeah.
especially because you kind of get into but I know it's wrong. And as
Yeah.
a reader, I'm like, it is. Give me more. What else
Yes.
is wrong?
And then so it's not the last one because there's probably going to be about 12 to 15 of these, but
Yeah.
um the next holiday I did was Halloween, so Smashing the Pumpkin King because
Oh,
you smash pumpkins, right?
yeah.
So um it was fun to write. Candy corn comes into play. Um, I'm not a big fan of candy corn, but I could be. I could be for him.
Yeah, for
Um,
him, for the right Pumpkin King,
for
I
the
feel
right
like,
Pumpkin King.
yeah.
Yeah. And then so he has kind of like a sidekick that helps him in the Halloween world.
Okay.
And he's a troll. And so I put tapping the troll in charge, and he has a clipboard. So he's very that shy type until
Until
he
he's
needs to
not.
check things off his list.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you could be on the list. So,
That was my next question is how do I get on this list?
yes, you need to be on the list.
I think we
But
all need to be on that list.
so it was fun naming those, and I have so many more in that series as well.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like that's so amazing that you have put that much thought into your names. And I think it really speaks a lot for the process of being a writer. We aren't just writing the story and being like, here you go. There's also like the packaging aspect of
Hmm.
like, how are we going to wrap this up? You have a
Yeah.
whole series that's like neat and tidy with like these wonderful like candy names and plays on words. And
Hmm.
like you were saying, like there's a lot of research that goes into like the different words that you're going to use in the
Yeah.
title. And it can be really, really challenging as a writer, but also like really rewarding.
Yeah. I think once you find that perfect title or name, it just like kind of clicks and it just
Oh,
like
yeah.
brings everything together, and it just it's like a less, stress comes off of you because you're like
Mhm.
searching and searching for these different things. And
Yeah.
then once it clicks, it's just like, all right, we
You
can go on
know.
now. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, another question. I usually start with the title. So,
Hmm.
like when You're My Favorite came out, when I was writing that book, I started with the title. And I was like, I know that I want this to be the title. I have an idea, like it's going to be like a possessive vampire. But the title for me, like, really kind of guided how I wrote the
Hmm.
story. So, do
Yeah.
you also start with the title or do you start with like the plot?
I usually start with a scene. Um, I get a lot of inspiration from like memes
Okay.
or like social media.
Yeah.
But I also like can just like what's because I don't know. I think with hard candy, the first one sucking on a sugar daddy, there was like a meme or like a video of someone, their kid saying, well, how do you eat this candy? And they go, well, you suck on it. And then I was just like, I don't know what that like unlocked in my brain. And I was like, that would be a
Yeah.
funny title.
Yeah.
And so then from there, you know, I came up with the title, and then the plot just came
Okay.
with, you know, I have to have a sugar daddy, right? And I have to have the candy. And then, but like, the girl has to like the candy because that's the whole point. But how does she meet this sugar daddy?
Yeah.
And so then she's an escort, but only one time. And then so she meets him. She's like, I'm only doing it once because her friend like gets her into trouble. So like
Yeah.
her friend's like, I'm an escort. I'll get you some, just do one time.
Yeah.
And so then, she meets him, and it's this cute little thing where she's already sucking on the sugar daddy because it's very nostalgic for her. And
Yeah.
it like calms her down. And so, and he's like, this is gonna be fun. And so then he kind of plays with her and teases her a
I
little
bet he
bit,
does.
but in a good way. So then I was like, well, what other candies can I put with this book? Because I can't just have one
Yeah.
book. And
Of
so
course.
I literally researched candy names, like all the candy bars in existence that I could find. And then the next one that stuck out was a big hunk. I was like, well, that right there
Yeah.
is something that we call, men, a big hunk. You see
That
hunks
is
all the
true.
time, right? So like I
Absolutely.
was like, so that's the next one. I think the rest of them are more like names, So then I
Yeah.
kind of have to play into the name of the person, which is fine.
Mhm.
Um, so I think for those, it was just like this, moment that I had something from the outside, social
Yeah.
media or whatever, a meme, and then it just like clicked for me to make
Okay.
a name for the title, and
Mhm.
then the plot came. Kiss My Tulips, I don't even know. Oh, I was writing Parker's story, still not done. Um, and then someone was like, "Hey, do you want to be in an anthology?" And I've never published before, and so it was like my first piece.
Cool.
And I was like, "Well, I could use these side characters that I already had made up."
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know their names, I didn't know what they did. And so I just like was thinking, and I don't even honestly remember how I came up with that they own shops in this little town. What funny names could they have? And so, because the book title is the name of the shop, it just
Yeah.
kind of like was there. So I was like, well, that's what I'll call it.
And
Um,
it works. It sounds like
yeah,
it like super worked, which I think is really, really cool. It's
yeah,
always nice when you kind of get into that flow and you're like, this is what these stories are called and this is how they're going to be
yeah.
shaped. For sure. So, Brandy, before we say
Yes,
goodbye, where
yes.
can everybody find your stories?
So I am on Amazon. You can just type in Brandy S. Goodman. So I just use my regular name and then just put my middle initial in there.
Cool.
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. Instagram is bookbabe44 because that's my swag business. So I just post on there. Um, and then I probably have a link tree somewhere
Okay,
out there in the world.
cool.
So
Love it.
yeah,
Okay, and I will add a link to your books in the description when I post the video too.
perfect.
Awesome. Well, Brandy, this has been really great. Thank you so much for talking
Yes,
with me about your stories and meet cutes and names.
yes,
I cannot wait to see you in July. We're gonna have so much fun.
yes. I can't wait. Thank you for
Bye.
having me. Bye.
Thank you.